All right.
I think we're live right now.
We are live.
Okay. I always get confused when we're live. That's so stupid. Okay. Anyway.
Did you tweet it out so I can retweet it?
Yeah. She just tweeted the.
I got it. There you go.
Yeah. So we're here with Bunty. Sorry for the delay, everyone. But we'll go ahead and let Bunty introduce himself. For some reason, in case you don't know who he is.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is.
But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Introduce myself. Man, this is hard. I haven't done that in a long time. I would label myself as a YouTuber slash a socio-political commentator. That's pretty much about it. Other people would describe me as an internet marketer. They just, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just a guy on the internet trying to make sense of the world. And as I make sense of it, I'm just trying to connect with as many people as possible, which would include my followers and of course, other of my peers, and just kind of, slowly kind of build a larger community of more rational people who are just down to kind of realize that there's a lot more to the world than what they're just consuming online. That's it.
Yeah, it's funny because if someone asked me to describe you, I would probably just say he's Bunty. Like I don't know how else to describe.
And that's totally fine. I wouldn't have any issue with people being described that way.
I know for me, the only thing I ever, well, not only, but the main thing for me is I just know your laugh. Like your laugh is so
that's true.
Recognizable that, it's funny because there's another guy, Minding Freedom. He has kind of the similar laugh. So every time we hear him laugh, it's like, oh, it sounds like Bunty's laughing too.
Yeah.
You guys have like the same laugh.
We have a similar laugh? Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, both your laughs sound pretty similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity. I've laughed quite a bit recently, but not as much as I used to, man. Like last year, I was laughing all the time. Like there wouldn't be a day that passed by where I didn't laugh. Like I was laughing all the time, and on Twitter too, always laughing. But then, come November of last year, going all the way through like up to now, this year. Just been not that funny. Things haven't been that funny. Things haven't been making me laugh as much. So, people recognize me for my laugh, but it's rare that I laugh now. It's really rare. It's weird. It's really sad, actually. It's depressing. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Now I'm starting to cry now.
No, it's okay. It's just like one bad thing happened, and then another bad thing happened, and just another bad thing happened, and then I'm so hard on myself. I want to be the best that I can possibly be, but I'm in a state where I'm just constantly if I look at myself, I'm just no, you're the worst. You're the worst.
Do you think being on social media is improving? Do you think you're improving because of social media, or do you think it's an opposite effect? Or
100% opposite effect. It really depends on how I'm using it. Like lately, since coming back to Twitter, people whoever they ask me, "Are you back? Come back to Twitter?" I always tell them it's like a soft return. Like I'm not really using it as much. If you look at my social blade now, you'll see my people are still following, but I don't tweet out as much anymore. I don't tweet or send replies. Back in the day, when I started doing Twitter numbnuts, Nerd City tweeted something out about how I was tweeting I tweeted 400 times a day ago or something like that. Like I was tweeting a crazy amount. If anyone mentioned me, I should reply to them. If there's something being said about me, I'd reply to it. I'd try to introduce myself, try to make myself known that I was there, and that if they had any questions, they could talk to me directly. But that exposed me to a lot of really toxic people, and so I just wanted to. I took a back step, and which sucks because it's almost feels as if I let them win. I was like, all right, I'll let them win this by not being as me online. I'm letting these people who want to see me fail win. But I was putting too much time into Twitter, too much time into social media in general, and not enough time into YouTube. And that was what people originally started following me for. They started following me for YouTube content. When they followed me on Twitter, they were like, oh, this guy's cool on Twitter. But then they saw my YouTube content, oh my God, he's also a YouTuber as well. This is cool. because all my friends are YouTubers. But because all my friends are YouTubers, they're still making YouTube videos, and I'm here making fucking nothing. And so but instead of, and the worst part is that instead of like taking that information, which is so clear, and applying it to myself and trying to create more content, I just get into this like hole where I'm like, oh fuck, they're making content. Like if I try to make a video, like it's not going to matter as much, you know, like it's just my opinion doesn't mean as much anymore. Like that kind of shit, you know, it's stupid.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to like think that way, because I think a lot of people like hearing your opinion, and I think, but I understand what you mean, because I think when it's yourself, then you start thinking about like, okay, there's so many people doing almost the same thing. Like, what's the point in me doing it? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like, for the same topics.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. It's like it just sucks because it's such a saturated market, especially like this whole like political spectrum. Everyone's kind of saying something, and sometimes when someone says something, like there's some things that I just don't want to talk about, because for me they just seem like normal fucking things that everybody should know by this point, you know? If it's about like race or like I just don't like, I don't want to talk about race anymore. Like that's something that it makes no sense for me to talk about, because I don't spend every day of my life looking at people and being like, oh, that person's brown. Oh, that person like is black, or that. I don't do that. Like that's something I don't do. And I know that other people who have been like critical of me have said that they don't do that as well, but it inevitably keeps coming up in their arguments. And it's like, I'm so done with looking at things from a racial perspective and really kind of bringing it down another level to like who they are as a person. That's what I care about the most. And unfortunately, you know, when it comes to like talking about like any kind of event that happens, you inevitably have to start talking about larger, broader demographics. And it's just like, sometimes it's just so annoying. Like it's like some of these topics I'm just so done with, you know, like I don't talk about the alt-right anymore. I don't talk about the alt-right. I don't talk about commies. I don't talk about Antifa. I don't give a shit about any of them. They're so dead to me. They're just like the people around those topics are so miserable. You can see on either side, they're so miserable. You can just tell. It's alarming. It's so alarming, and I can't deal with that.
Being surrounded by that, like especially like on Twitter, I don't know like about the other platforms too much, but you see so much of it. It's just kind of depressing, because you see other people's like, I don't know. It seems like it would be totally crazy to think about race all the time. You know what I mean? Like you'd be like exhausted thinking about that.
Yeah,
kind of
like
stuff.
they wake up and they go, white people.
Yeah.
And then they go to sleep, white people.
Yeah. Like think about, okay, I know what it's like to get hit. Like I'm a high traffic Twitter account. Okay. So like if I tweet something out, and if I tweet about a specific thing that I feel strongly about, it's more than likely going to bang. It's more than likely going to have a lot of people retweeting, a lot of people engaging it and all that stuff. Right. So I know what that feels like on the regular. And I would experience that all the time. Before my Twitter account got suspended, I was getting anywhere between 500,000 to like 1 million impressions a day on my Twitter account. All right. And so that meant that was just like, and that was just like an average thing for me. There are these people now who will tweet out stuff about like white people, or it doesn't matter. They'll just tweet something out about some kind of social issue or perceived social issue, and their tweet will blow up. And I know for a fact, just based on how I would engage with Twitter, what that would do to someone who's just a completely normal person who hasn't ever experienced that before. They feel that rush. It gives them such an insane amount of like, gives them like a boost. Like, oh my God, I just tweeted something out and look at all these people agreeing with me. Look at how many people are sharing it. And they would be on that all day. No matter, like, there's no doubt about it that people that they know in real life were also commenting on that as well. And it's like their entire day was probably consumed by that one tweet, you know, even though they may not say it was, but it's like they spend a lot of time on that one tweet. I would spend less and less time on my tweets, just looking at them. I just kind of like move on to the next topic. But when it first started, I'd be like, holy shit, I just blew up with this. Oh my God, I just put this video out. Holy crap. It's like, it's just been shared. Like, look how many times it's been shared. I'd be sitting on and recording a podcast, and I'd be looking at my mentions pile up. Like they would just pile up. It was nuts. It was completely nuts. Just seeing that the first time and not being used to it. Now I'm used to it. Now I don't care as much. But like back then it was like it was nuts. So people who are just so not used to it, people who are so not used to any kind of like internet fame, they get consumed by this. And so if they're tweeting about stuff like fuck white people or like fuck the working class or something like that, and it blows up for them, like they spent a lot of time thinking about it that day, and that's sad as fuck, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I tweet something and it gets retweets or likes, I'm like, oh my god, oh shit, So
Yeah.
I'm like that,
No, you sit there, you sit there and you look at it, right? You look at it, like see the stuff coming in. Yeah, just imagine one of those accounts that get like 144,000 likes on a tweet that's as basic as white people are the worst, the most evil beings on this entire planet. That was an actual tweet. 144,000 likes or something like that. I can only imagine. Like I looked at that Twitter account, it didn't look like there was a lot more going over there. But yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, there's some tweets where you'll see like the original tweet saying something like wrong, and then the correction will have like nowhere near as many impressions or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of them like will be something like that, and then there'll be a bunch of people quoting that tweet and then retweeting it, and then it gets more and more popular. I've seen, like, even just today, I saw a bunch of really stupid stuff. Like, I was gonna submit some stuff to your Twitter numbnuts, but there was too many of them, so I couldn't.
Totally submit something. Please submit as much as you can. If there's anyone in the chat that's listening right now, please like submit something. If you've seen something stupid on Twitter, it doesn't matter if someone else submitted it, because I just need the submissions. I'm going to be going to the studio tonight to film it. Just gonna do it.
Yeah, I have at least 10 for you then. So
amazing.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know, she's like the master of finding that stuff.
I find a lot of really stupid things. I don't know how.
And then you tweet them all, and people are like, why are you tweeting this stuff? I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's different when you tweet it, because the thing that I like about my Twitter Numbnut series is that like I show the tweet that I'm kind of making fun of, or like the person that I'm kind of like poking fun at, and I don't leave it up to you to react to it. I react to it for you as well. So you guys kind of like react with me. So it's like a team effort in a way. Whereas I feel like on Twitter, if I were to just share a tweet or like quote tweet something that I disagree with, I'm still kind of leaving a lot of the reaction up to you, which means like you sit there and you're like looking at it, and it'll probably make you angry for having to see that tweet. Whereas if you were to see me react to it in a video, accompanied with like a laugh, or accompanied with like just like being like just kind of discussing it, the discussion and like the hilarity of it will kind of detract away from like the how bad or toxic that tweet may be. And I find that when people share tweets on tweets like on Twitter, like by like taking a screenshot of it and reacting to it, it either one amplifies the message that person the person who you're quoting has, and then two, it also just makes more people angry. So I've tried to also avoid doing that as well. I don't know, like people. I don't know how closely some people watch me. I know there's some people who watch me very, very closely, but I'm fairly certain that since like my return in December, when I got my original account back, I was really trying to avoid really kind of highlighting tweets that I found to be inflammatory, just because I didn't want people to see an opinion that I thought was really, really that dumb.
Yeah, I've noticed since the first time, I don't know if it was the second or was it the first or second time you got banned off of your main account in the end of last year, you stopped tweeting as much, and then you were more like, I don't know how to explain it, but like you wouldn't like point out a lot of stuff like that anymore. So like from the time I met you.
Yeah, because it just made me unhappy, and I realized that it was like really kind of like it wasn't the correct approach to how I wanted to use Twitter. I found that the coolest things that would happen was when there was funny stuff being done, and also just when conversations were happening. When people saw like an actual productive conversation between two people, they're like, oh, wow, this is so cool. You can actually have a conversation with this guy. Like that's something that people wanted, right? And so that's what I wanted more of. But then because I was willing to have conversations with people on the right and even the far right, like I was okay with having that so long as they had some level of respect for me, and some were willing to. But then, and of course they would be willing to talk to me because they no one wants to give them a platform, but I was willing to kind of just talk to them and see what their story's about. I don't care how racist someone is, just so long as they're willing to kind of set aside their racism to like actually just talk to me for a bit, you know? But then next thing you know, there was some, what the fuck is this, man? That's right. Something opened up on my screen. I don't know what's going on here. But then next thing you know, like people, like there's these losers on the left start talking about it, and they started losing their minds. They're like, oh, all he does is platform the right. And I'm like, no, that's not true at all. I platform the left. Like it doesn't matter who you are. I'll talk to you. Just talk to me.
I remember
it's really just talk to me, man. Like just don't be chill and talk to me. And they're like, oh, Bunty just wants people to be nice to him. He just wants people to be nice to him. Like, no, you fucking loser. I want to have a conversation. Like I don't think you understand. Like being nice is part of having a conversation. Being respectful, being like, you know, being like a real human is part of having a conversation. So like, yeah, I want people to be nice to me. Like everyone does. Don't you want to go through life with people being chill with you? It's like, come on.
Well, they just see one, you know, conversation that you have with someone they disagree with, so they assume that that's all you talk to is people they disagree with.
Yeah, and like one of my favorite conversations I've seen you have on YouTube was the one with that. I think it was a communist. That one, I watched the whole live stream. It was amazing.
Oh, which one with Muke?
I think so. I think that was it. Was like
British kid? British kid?
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction poster in the background? I
think so, yeah. I don't actually watch them. I only listen to them because I'm usually at work.
Yeah, I got you. No, they're easy to listen to. So they're not something that you really need to like watch. So that was a really nice conversation I had with him, you know, and we disagreed fundamentally on one thing, and it was he agrees with deplatforming people, and I don't agree with deplatforming people. You know, I agree with letting the market decide, you know, whether his words are worth it. And yeah, like that's pretty much it. Like, so I remember that conversation vividly because it was like 2 hours long. It was a 2-hour long interview. You know, yeah. I haven't had for the most part, I don't think I've had a 2-hour long conversation with anyone on the right. I've had 2-hour long conversations with my friends, with so people like Theron Meyer, who also happens to be a left-leaning person. All right, I've had a 2-hour long conversation with Muke. I've had 2-hour long conversations with Claire Voltaire, who's like a pretty pro-Jewish person, like pretty pro-Israel person. So it's like I never understood what the mentality was behind it. I think really, actually, no, I do understand. It's purely jealousy. They see someone that's capable of actually having conversations with people without alienating his audience, and it really irks them. And it's like, listen, man, it doesn't have to bother you. You can do the same thing that I'm doing. It's so easy. Just go and do the fucking same thing that I'm doing, and I won't hate you for it. I don't care if someone takes the exact same formula that I have and ends up becoming a millionaire. All right, because if he's doing the same thing that I am, or she's doing the same thing that I am, and they're successful at it, that's fucking amazing. I want people to have conversations with each other, actual conversations, not like fucking mudslinging, trying to find out dirt on other people. When I had JF, okay, on to talk to him at the beginning of January, beginning of this year, you know who JF is, right? JFG, Jean-François Galipé,
have not. Other than hearing about him, I haven't like seen any of his content or anything.
That's totally fine. You don't have to see any of it, but you've heard of him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like this guy, he has quite a bit of a colorful past, to say the least. Okay, I'm really gonna put it. It's not the prettiest picture when you look at what he's been through, or what, you know, what's happened, or what, you know, has been what he's been accused of in a way. During that interview, all right, I had with him, people wanted me to grill him on his past, but I made a decision. I was like, I don't like at this. I'm like, listen, this guy's not in jail. He's not under house arrest. Last I checked, he's not some kind of he's not a threat to me. So why do I need to spend time picking apart this guy's past, making him feel like shit, when I have an opportunity to ask him questions about what he believes in, so I can understand his belief system better? Do I want to put him on the defensive and make him feel like he needs to like defend himself, or do I want to like let him feel relaxed and be able to answer any question that I have, knowing that I'm not going to judge him as some kind of like, I'm not going to care enough to like be like, oh, you're such a bad guy. Like, I just want to know what's going on in his head, you know? And it's like, and I this entire interview was, I'm convinced that anyone that was critical of it didn't actually listen to the interview. And it's like, that's just the thing that irks me. It's like, you're going to go and act like an intelligent person, then act like an intelligent person and start watching the content that you're critical of. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. You know, like that's pretty much it.
And I think like the big problem is like if you have a guest on that you probably disagree with, then they expect you to like grill them or like, you know, be critical. You're just trying to like understand what they're about. You know?
It's his channel. He can do whatever he wants with, you know, whoever he has on his channel. He can question him or do whatever he wants, you know.
Yeah, but they assume that if you're not criticizing them, then that means that you're agreeing with them, which is not true. So
yeah, I'll just disagree with them. I'll just disagree with them. It's just so simple. It's like if I don't agree with something they say, I don't feel obliged to agree with something they say out of fear or something like that. No, I just say I don't know. I disagree. You know, he asked me if I was a race realist, and I said I don't know enough about that to even say yes or no. I haven't spent time studying race realism. I haven't read the bell curve. I haven't read any of that shit. think I'm going to go ahead and just say I'm a race realist based on a fucking YouTube video, buddy? No. I'm sorry. I'm gonna withhold from that. Like, oh, well, you know, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. It's okay. I respect that you're a race realist, though. If you want to consider yourself to be a race realist, it's not a problem. It's not a big deal at all. But it's like, you know, I'm totally okay with disagreeing with people, you know, because I have worked the ability to be able to disagree with people while not making them feel like shit about whatever we disagree about, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of reminds me of when, Roaming Millennial had Richard Spencer on, and she just did like a normal interview, like a normal person. Yeah. But then everybody had to like shit on her about like, why weren't you harder on him and stuff? And like, people still bring that up today. And I'm just like, are you kidding?
It's so tragic because like I know Roaming personally, you know, she's just a really cool, down to earth person. She's really Canadian. Like, and so when I like
live stream,
yeah, I mean, like we just like, you know, like I don't agree with everything that she has to say politically, especially I think when it comes to Quebec, but like for the most part, I think that there's one thing that we both fundamentally agree on, and it's that discussions, like this idea of being able to discuss things, this idea of like, you know, allowing people to understand what people are saying without misrepresenting them. That is something that we both definitely agree on. And what she did was she just fucking interviewed Richard Spencer and laid out all the information that he was willing to provide to her through but just that was it. That's all it was. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's just strange that like people bring their experiences to the content that they're consuming online. So it's not, I keep saying it's strange, but that's like my default. I think everything is strange when people just lose their minds. But I do understand why they're losing their minds. I really do. And it has everything to do with the fact that, you know, someone like Richard Spencer is a threat to someone who isn't a white person in North America. That's what I at one point perceived him as a threat, you know, guaranteed. I can go ahead and say that, right? But I mean, but at the end of the day, like you have to understand that like this is the internet. He's not going anywhere unless he has like unless he gets arrested for something that he did that was illegal. Unless he is unless he just suddenly like, you know, something where he's not going anywhere. That's the thing. He's not, and if he's not going anywhere, then like what can be done to get rid of him? Nothing can be done to get rid of him unless you yourself want to go ahead and debase yourself by committing some kind of illegal act to get rid of him, you know, or if you want to like act like it's okay to deplatform people for political opinions, at which point when does it turn on you? You know, it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be this person that's gonna be like, all right, deplatform these people, because when am I exempt from that? What if my opinion ends up not being the right opinion at some point and then someone wants to get rid of me? It's like that's not the right way to handle it. I'd rather that someone like Richard Spencer gets questioned and he answers the questions, and then everyone can hear what he has to say, and that's it. Most people that I've introduced Richard Spencer to, I would say, when I say most people, I'm going to say like in real life, they're all like repulsed by him. They're like, what? No.
Yeah, it's like, who actually thinks that? I don't know, but like that's the thing that really gets me like riled up, I guess, is what you said earlier about the free speech thing. Basically, when does it turn on you? Because who's going to be the judge of that? You know, like we're all human, so we all have different opinions on what is acceptable and what's not.
Right.
So if we're gonna like police hate speech, then it's not ever going to be fair.
Well, someone's definition of hate speech can be completely different from another person's definition of hate speech.
Totally.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Totally. And I mean, that's why I'm so against deplatforming, man. I just don't get how anyone in their right mind would be okay with a state coming in and being like, you can't say this anymore. It's like, what? That's insane, man. You can't do that. Like that could go wrong. That's just a nightmare. That's like something that you just don't want happening. I don't care how crazy somebody is. I don't care like how hateful that person is. Like if he wants to be hateful on the internet, he can be hateful on the internet. I have every a tool at my disposal to make sure that I don't ever see him again, either through muting, through blocking, whatever. If I really don't like someone, I just block them and I mute them, and they're gone forever. It's until they start, going out of their way to kind of get to me. That's when it's a little bit awkward. Then that's when we,
that would be harassment then.
Exactly. Or you can do what Tyler the Creator said when he tweeted out, "Why don't you just move away from your computer and turn around?"
Yeah, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Yeah. And that's the other thing. You can disconnect from the internet, man. Like I'm telling you, like it's easy to disconnect from the internet. I know it's kind of hard also, because for someone like me, I need the internet to grow my brand, the internet to grow my online, my platform. But sometimes you just need a detox, man. You just need to take some steps back from the internet, because I'm telling you, the moment you like put your phone down, it's like, who's contacting you? That's how you know if something's really serious, by the way. If it really is like just like if it's like a real non-issue, if you leave your phone away for like a day and you don't get called by anyone, or if you get off social media and you don't get phone calls from anyone, any text messages from anyone regarding that issue, you don't see news reports about it, then it's really a non-issue. It's not really anything. That's what I think personally.
It's like a distraction, basically. Stuff to fill up the day.
Yeah.
Have you tried that? I don't know if you watched the Dave Rubin show about when he disconnects for the whole weekend. Have you tried that?
He told me about that personally. I think we sat down, we talked about it.
Oh, yeah, I think that might have been during your. Yeah, actually, that probably was during your live stream with him.
Yeah, he just takes time to disconnect. I remember that conversation with Dave Rubin, and one of the things that I really liked about that conversation was he was talking about how his friend told him that to just call the city, if the dog was acting up next door. And I was like, that's an insane thing to do. Like, why would you just call the city? Why don't we just go and talk to the dog owner and be like, hey, this is.
I remember that part.
Yeah.
Why do you need to get people or like the state involved?
Right.
You don't need to get the state involved, and that's the thing. We're in this place now where we all try to get these forms of authority involved. Like I got suspended from my last Twitter account because some losers decided, this was targeted abuse, and they got an authority involved, and the authority being Twitter, instead of actually talking to me and be like, hey, what do you mean by this? They came in with their own narrative. They assumed that the narrative, their narrative was the 100% correct narrative, that I was being abusive towards women. And they targeted that for targeted abuse, and that was it, gone. And it just complicates things,
What was the tweet about? I don't even know.
You don't remember? You don't know what happened? Okay, so I tweeted.
Know what happened.
Okay, well, it's fine. I tweeted out a little. It's like a bunch of ASCII characters that made it look like there was like a building and there was like one person on top of the building with like a kissy face emoji, and that person was pushing a turf off of a building, and then yeah, and there's another character, like a little assy character that's falling off, and it was like it was supposed to be a turf, but it was like such a basic tweet. Like it wasn't anything. It wasn't super graphic. It was just like. And it was also an observation. It was like what I was seeing people like Shoe on Head do regularly on Twitter, because they're in this constant war with turfs, constant war. So it was all it was an observation, and then that observation started a discussion, because Lacey Green has also been labeled as a turf, you know, because of her opinions on genitals. So. She gets called a turf for no reason. She's not a turf. I don't think she's a turf at all. But
I was going to say, based on what I know about her, I wouldn't call her a turf.
But she gets called a turf. She gets called a turf by extreme far left weirdos. Like, yeah, I know, dude. Like, when Lacey was on this, when Lacey was on This American Life, the Twitter account tweeted it out, and people were responding to it like crazy. Like, Lacey's a bad person. Lacey's done this. Lacey's pretty much calling her alt-right, shit like that, just bullshit, just bad stuff like that, like stupid shit.
Oh, right, really? Come on, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I mean, like all that, like that's just and that's just it. So she gets a lot of, she pretty much came into that thread saying, turf is normally just thrown around a lot, and I was like, okay, I get it, but like I'm not I'm not throwing it around. I'm actually talking about the ones that like really just don't like trans people, and even then I wasn't even saying push them off of buildings. I was just saying it was like they were just being thrown under the bus. That's pretty much it. It's the same thing. So yeah,
I guess people took it too far and were extremely offended and decided to not even look at your intent, and then decide to report you for that.
Yeah, and it's impossible to kind of like unlock my account now after that. So
wow.
Yeah.
So how many times has it been now that you've been banned or whatever, suspended off?
So I got Mr. Bunty King suspended, which was like my first public, I would say, Twitter account that I was using for YouTube. That happened in June, right before VidCon of last year. So I lost that, and then I started then I took my original Twitter account, which is the one I made in 2009, and that was like my full name, Anand Virk, and I just changed it to Mr. Bunty King Alt. And I was using that throughout VidCon and all that stuff, and it surpassed all of my followers from my like original 20,000. And
wow.
And then I grew it up to 52,000. Then I got suspended in November, and it was for sending someone hugs. Like I asked my community to send them hugs, and they actually sent them like actual hugs and emote hugs. Yeah,
that was like the dumbest reason to.
Yeah, and then I started my punished Bunty King account, which is Bunty King TV, which is what I have right now. And then I just decided I would file for another appeal on my main account, and I did, and it got approved. They were like, "Yeah, we made a mistake." And so I was like, "Holy shit, I'm back!" And so I came back, grew that to 52,000 followers, and then got hit again. So now I'm back on Bunty King TV, and it's like, do I want to go back to my old one? I don't know. I have no clue. There's a lot of there's just a lot of I don't know. Maybe it's just a fun thing to rebuild again.
So from your first suspension to now, what's the biggest thing that you've learned in terms of just your social media use, or you personally? Have you grown any, or have you learned anything, or
I feel like I've been in a standstill for the past 6 months, man. Yeah, in terms of my career has been on a major standstill, and I just haven't been doing enough. My friends have been uploading every week. Just been uploading like crazy. Like I've seen some people just surpass me like crazy. Like when I got introduced the commentary community back in late 2016. My friends like Leon Lush and all that, I think they had less subs than I did. They had way less subs than I did. And then when VidCon rolled around, we were still like around the same amount of subs. Actually, we'd actually we're around that point. And now they just blew past me because they are actually putting in the work. So what I've come to understand about Twitter and social media in general is this, right? YouTube, maybe not Instagram. Instagram can actually be like legit, like profitable for people, but YouTube is like the job. YouTube's the job, and Twitter is like the hangout. It's like the streets. It's like the party or the after or the, you know, like the I don't know what you guys have. Where are you from, by the way?
We're from Dallas, Texas.
Okay, okay, so it's the happy hour. Twitter's like the happy hour, okay? And it's and what it is like, I feel like I've just been hanging out at the happy hour the whole time. I've just been chilling at the happy hour. I'm the dude at the bar that's just at the bar the entire time. So anytime my friends roll in, they can come in, they see me at the bar, and I'm just there talking shit, ready to, like, you know, just, you know, ready to throw up some banter and just like you know, give them some of my takes. But they're actually going into work and creating content, and I'm just sitting at the bar. And that's the problem. So like, that's the thing. Like, you have to treat Twitter like happy hours. That's pretty much it. You just got to be like, put in the work, go in, talk a little bit on Twitter, and then just go back to work. You can't be on Twitter the whole time.
That's my problem. Well, I built my base so far on Twitter, and I don't even, like, when I started, I didn't even know why people are following me. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying things. I don't know why people are following me, but it's a lot harder on YouTube because it's like you said, it's kind of like a job. You have to be dedicated. You have to say, okay, I'm going to do a video today, and everything has to be filmed by this time, and I have to edit by this time, and it has to be out by tonight. Yeah. So it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it's definitely harder than I thought when we started.
Yeah, we just winged it, and that was not a good thing.
Yeah, I know it is. It is really hard, and you have to have like you have to have content that has a hook to it, right? And I think that I've nailed that in a way, but at the same time, you know, like my Twitter Numbnut series, if I kept going that, and if I kept doing that every single week, channel would be in a completely different part of the world right now. It would be insane, doing something totally, and I'm gonna do it, but it's just that it's yeah, it's just that.
Yeah, you just started that recently, right?
I started Twitter Numbnuts last year, and yeah, I started Twitter Numbnuts last year, but I stopped doing it because, well, I lost my Twitter account, and then I also stopped doing it because I just was too depressed to do anything. And you know, just talking to you guys actually has made me feel a lot better, which is really cool. Because I'm so dependent on human interaction. Like, I love real human interaction, right? So right now, talking to you guys, like, live, just chilling, having a conversation with like two chill people is like amazing for me. You know what I mean? That's like cool. You guys are like my therapist right now. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
So you must be a very extroverted person then.
Very extroverted, super extroverted. When I don't see enough people, I lose my mind. You know what happened yesterday? I opened my window just so I could hear cars going by, just so I could hear people outside. Literally just open the window to hear that. Like, hearing cars like just drive by, hearing the cars in the distance, like on the main street, like that comforted me. That's like, it's super, like, there's a level of, I think I'm a little too integrated into society. Like, I need society. Like, if I don't have it around me, if I'm like just stuck in my room all day, oh my God, I'll lose my mind. I'll go insane.
It's interesting hearing that, because I'm almost the opposite. Well, I understand I like being in crowds of people or being like around people, but then I'm very hard to get to know and hard to talk to because I'm very introverted. Yeah. So it's like, for me, when I talk to people, I'm like, okay, I need a break. Like, I have to go by myself after like being at a party or something. So
really? Yeah.
You get your energy from being with people, and I get my energy from being away from people.
Here's a huge problem that I noticed about myself. When I was at parties, I was on fucking Twitter the whole time. People invited me to these parties. They're excited to see me. I'm on Twitter. It's like, what am I doing? Why am I like that? Why do I need to do this? Like, it's like crazy. Like, yeah, I know. I mean, last VidCon, I was on Twitter the whole time. There would be people being introduced to me, and I didn't even give them the time of day. Not because I'm an asshole, but because, well, I am an asshole for doing that. But I'm not because I'm actually an asshole, but because I was so involved in the social media shit that, like, I didn't take the time to disconnect and connect with what was around me at that very moment. I'm this dude that talks about building communities and being injecting yourself in society. When I'm standing around in society, I'm on my fucking phone. because I'm trying to help other people do the same thing that I'm trying to do. But at the same time, that's cutting away from what I normally do, you know, which is just talk to people. You know, like by being on Twitter. Sorry?
I said it's good that you notice it now and not just, you know, keep going with it, because it seems like you've gone through a huge realization over the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish that it happened earlier, and that I can just kind of like start, like I can get back on the saddle again of creating YouTube content. But every time I try to make YouTube content, I'm just like, fuck, I'm just the worst right now. I'm the worst.
Social media, you know, and getting that, like, you know, that like or that retweet, it's like a drug. Every time you get it, it's like another hit, you know?
It is just absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Well, it felt important. Here's the thing. The other thing that makes like my presence on Twitter or like social media a little bit more, I feel like a little bit more special or different from others, is that like my DMs are open. So people DM me like very often to say, thank you. You've helped me with this, or thank you, like, or ask me advice or something like that. And I'll give them advice. So it's like I can see that I myself see the direct results of what is being said about me, or what I'm doing, right? So that encourages me to spend more time on it. And obviously I don't share every good thing that comes my way, because then that would be kind of like shitty. It'd be like I think a fake person thing to do. Like, hey, look at all the nice things people are sending me. Like, I don't want to do that. But like, it's just, it happens. Like people DM me all the time. And that is like a direct, I see that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm making a difference here. I'm definitely making a difference. So that encourages me to stay on it. But it's hard though. It's really hard. It's like, it's something I have to deal with at this point. Cause yeah.
Sometimes the things you get DM'd.
I only get DM'd bad stuff, but that's awesome that you get DM'd thank you notes and stuff like that.
So funny.
Oh, it's rare that people DM me with bad shit.
Oh,
well, because if DM me with bad shit, I normally twist it around and I can make something funny out of it, and then I'll grow my brand. That's what I try
to do whenever I get like someone that like quotes one of my tweets or replies something stupid. I'll reply or quote them with something even more stupid, and they're like, you know, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be not so serious, because it's just Twitter. So.
Yeah, and it's so easy too, because you can tell when people are like, you know, like we were saying before, you know, just name calling and putting a label on something, because it's so easy to do it behind a computer, behind a phone. If you're doing it in front of a, you know, face to face,
people wouldn't say those things.
They wouldn't say it. Yeah.
I think that's the problem though, because they feel like they can just say stuff like that to you just because they're behind a screen.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, that's how I feel, at least. Because I mean, people tweet out the most ridiculous stuff, and sometimes I'm like, "Do you really think that?" Or you're just putting that out there to make yourself look good? You know?
Yeah. And people will direct that kind of criticism my way too. I was like, "Yo, bro." Generally speaking, I don't open my mouth unless I believe something, or if I have a genuine question, or if I'm actually trying to have a legit discussion about something. But I will not open my mouth unless I believe it, and I won't be like, "This is my opinion," unless I believe it. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I want to look back on everything that I've done and be like, "Oh, I was not a shit guy. Like I did this." You know, I want to be, when I have kids, I want my kids to be like, that's my dad. He's like a cool dude, you know, and they believe it because it's true. I don't want to have to deal with that. There's too many people that I've seen online now. I don't need to name names, but because it's very apparent for everybody that just say things to gain an audience, and then when they gain that audience, they want to like move far away from it. They think that it can just work that way, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to, like, if you build an audience based on that, then it's kind of hard to say what you actually believe, because then you don't really have anything to say.
Yeah, if you build an audience that actually off of your actual opinions, if you build an audience off of like who you really are, then you're never going to have a problem just keeping that audience down the line. It's just that simple. you know, or the people who end up leaving afterwards. If they see you do something and they leave, well, they just weren't around for you anyway. It's just that simple. It's excellent because it's like an open door. It's like having an open door policy. And I remind people that all the time. I'm like, yo, I have an open door policy. If you don't like what you hear, then you can just leave. I'm not gonna shame you for leaving. If you don't like what I have to say right now, you don't need to listen to me. You can block me, mute me, do whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are. It doesn't matter. If you just do not give a shit about me anymore, see ya. You know, and that's just it. It's an open door policy. It's like you can come in anytime, and if they want, turn around at some point and be like, "Listen, I'm sorry. I don't care. Like it's all good. Don't worry about it, man. It's the internet. You know, it's different. Yeah. It's like unless we're like, if it comes to like being real life friends, you know, like, and that may be a bit of an issue if someone were to like kind of just like up and leave. But when it comes to like fans, followers, like, no, I don't mind if someone doesn't like what I have to say and they just don't want to hear me anymore. They can leave. It's not a problem.
So what would you think it would be like if you had 4 stomachs like a cow?
What?
If I what? 4 stomachs like a cow?
Yeah, if you had like 4 stomachs like a cow, how do you think that would be like?
Well, I'd be a lot fatter than I am now. I don't know, like cows are like herbivores, right? So I don't know why they have 4 stomachs. Like I need 4 stomachs. Like what's wrong with that? They don't need 4 stomachs. Why are they so fat? Why are they so fat? Why are cows so fat? It's not like they eat like animals.
They eat grass. It doesn't make any sense. Right?
Turn them into hamburgers.
We have a lot, like, since, I mean, this sounds really stereotypical, but since we're in Texas, we live on a ranch and there's a bunch of cows out there.
Yeah.
So we always think this kind of stuff. Like, why do they have
and why are they so fat? And why are they so fat? They're just like eating grass. Like, didn't know grass was that fat. You know, like what's wrong?
Well, it's funny too because they're eating grass and then they're just peeing. You know, right where they're eating, they're just like, I'm just. Could you imagine if like if we did that, we just peed wherever? We're just walking around, just peeing.
I'm pretty sure it was a thing at one point. It was 100% a thing at one point. Do you not feel like we took? Like we used to, like, you know, back in the day, we would take like our buckets of shit and just throw it out into the street. You know, like that was something that human beings did. Straight up, like in the street. Can you imagine like taking a dump and like having a bucket underneath it and then just like right before you walk into your car or like to go drive to work, you like dump your shit on like the side on the side.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but that was like normal for them, man. They just fucking did it. They'd like open their window and they just dump their shit out into the street, like no problem. It was like a go along the gutters. It's disgusting, bro. Like what is that? That's what we did, you know. And I can only imagine that was like back in the day. That was the sophisticated thing to do. You're like, yo, don't leave your shit in your bucket at home. But before that, they would probably like shit while they ate. They would just like they would just take a shit wherever. Back in the day, I can promise you that, like for sure, they took a shit wherever they wanted to take a shit. Like we're just in a constant state of self-improvement. That's what humanity is in. Constant state of self-improvement. Eventually, we're just like, you know, like look, dude, back in like 1950. When we took a shit in the toilet, I'm just using an arbitrary year. We took a shit in the toilet, right? It was just like a regular toilet, right? Now we have toilets that actually wash our ass. Like, that's crazy. Soon, like in the future, I'm telling you, like in 20 years from now, people are going to be like, you're still using a toilet that doesn't wash your ass? Are you insane? Like,
that's probably true.
Because they have those in Japan.
Because they have those in Japan and Korea.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Back when we started using toilets that just were like normal 1950s toilets or whatever toilets that we are using today, normal toilets, that was an improvement. We were like, yo, this is really sick. We actually have like a plumbing system. It goes in, like you don't have to ever worry about it. We're not covering streets with shit. Everything's great, you know. But the future is going to look back at this period and be like, wow, they're so disgusting. Like they would take a shit and they would wipe their ass with paper. Disgusting. disgusting people.
It would probably help too, you know, whenever you're like wiping your ass and it just will not go away. Like what the fuck? Like every time you wipe your ass.
So it is the absolute that is the worst experience, by the way. That is the worst experience.
I've watched 6 times already.
It's terrible, and it's just like it never stops. And then you think you've got
and then like, what did you eat? Like, what did I eat to make me fucking shit like this? Like
or all right, you're doing it. and you keep doing it, and eventually, subconsciously, you start wiping a little bit, like with less force, just to kind of show yourself that you're wiping, getting less shit on there. But in the reality, your butthole is still covered in shit. So when you put on your pants again, you walk around, you got an itchy ass, and you know what it is. You know what's going on there.
Yeah, maybe that's why they had the water shooting up, because it'd be a little easier to because everything's all nice and wet.
Okay, in Asia they have a bidet and you spray your ass with it.
It's the best thing in the world. It should be a law to have that in the house now. It's like it just makes more.
I installed one in my last apartment, and then I got in trouble for installing one. That's
Why?
American. They said that I was ruining the plumbing, even though I did it right.
There isn't no other. What is this?
Yeah, they're like, now we have to uninstall this. Like, we're going to charge you a $150 fee for that.
And then they tried it, and you're like, oh, now I understand why.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
We've already got so the house I'm staying at for VidCon this year, they have a toilet. It's funny, like this was like actually one of the pictures from the listing. See a toilet. It was like one of the pictures of the listing was a toilet, and the toilet had like a command console next to it. So it's like one of those. It's one of those like super toilets. Yeah, it's one of those super toilets. Whenever I go to my client's place, I got this client. He's an older dude, and he just needs help with his computers every now and then. So I go over and help him. He's like the only client that I help with that. Like I really do not do that kind of work anymore. And so I go and I help him out with his emails and stuff like that, and all that. But anytime I have to, if I use the bathroom at his place, when I walk into the bathroom, the toilet is already on its way to opening. It opens up for me. All right, and I sit down, and then it's like actually like a warm seat. It's like it's got a seat warmer in it, and it's got a console next to me where I press a button and it flushes the toilet. And once it flushes the toilet, it activates the bidet, and then it has a fan in there too. So it has a fan drying me as well as squirting water, but it also squirts water in a pattern. It like pulses. It like shoots it in different areas. It's like I'm telling you, dude, it was like the craziest thing ever. Yeah, it's the craziest thing ever. It's like I almost feel bad that I don't go to his house to take a dump every time. I feel like I should. I feel like if ever I do, I'm gonna not take my morning shit anymore before leaving the house. I'm gonna take my morning shit at his place, just so I can wash my butthole on his toilet. It's the best thing in the world. It's so good.
Oh my god. Oh shit! Hey man, can I go take a shit in your toilet? Yeah, sure. Why not? Oh, thanks, sir.
I just say I need to use the restroom. I'll just use the restroom. I'll be right back. He says no problem. I go in there, just fucking that's it. It's great. It's a great time. It's a really, really good time. It's just amazing.
So it not only squirts straight, it squirts in patterns.
That's weird. I've never heard of that before.
Wow. There you go.
Wait, so you said when is VidCon this year?
June 20th.
June 20th. And that's in California, right?
Yeah, Anaheim.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And I'm also leaving tomorrow to Phoenix for Kilroy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I know like a lot of people were like weird about it because a lot of guests canceled, but I know that you and Roaming are still going, and Christina Hoff Summers is still going. A couple other people are still going.
Yep.
So what's the deal with that? What's going on?
It's just going to be a chill time. We got like the original hotel that was checked out isn't what like they end up like going south, but they ended up getting a resort now, and yeah. So I can't give too much details about where the resort is, but the resort looks really nice, Mm-hmm. So that's that, like it's still happening, and they actually ended up not having that many people request refunds, or they're a lot less than they expected. I was a little bit peeved at first about the whole thing because I felt like I had been lied to about certain things, or I had been like there was a lot of miscommunication, and I was just like, really, this is so stupid. Because I was putting my name, and I was like, my name's on the thing too, and I was like, yeah, so like this is it, and like them not doing like a good job in terms of like communicating effectively with the people who like bought tickets and people who were excited about it. I felt like I looked bad, which is a very selfish way to look at things, but I mean, it is how it is, right? And there's other people who felt that way, obviously, and that's why they also said, no, I'm not going here anymore. Like, I'm not doing it. But I signed a contract with them way before everyone else started dropping out. When everyone else started dropping out, I was like, oh shit, this isn't good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I was like, shit. But because I signed the contract, because I said I was gonna go, I'm gonna go. It's the way it is. And I said I'm gonna go. I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to get like a panel to speak then, correct?
Apparently, I'm gonna. Well, I mean, I've asked to be a moderator. I don't want to speak. I feel like I'm better off just being someone that talks and just guides people through the talking and introducing topics and saying hi to people and keeping people a little bit entertained and keeping things like easy going along. You know, that's what I feel where my strengths are. You know, but there's people who are going to be talking on these panels about things that they've been talking about for ages, way longer than I've been around. So I feel like they deserve to talk more than I do. Just a logical decision that I made for myself, and I just think that's smart. And if there's ever like a panel in the future that I'm ever needed on in order to talk about social media growth or building a brand online, like I'll be on a panel for that for sure. But you know, in terms of like them talking about freedom of speech, in terms of like, you know, talking about some kind of social issues, there's people who are way better equipped to talk about it than I am.
And this is in Arizona. That's in Phoenix, or is it?
Yeah,
Phoenix.
Is it
Phoenix?
Yeah.
Phoenix, yeah.
It's funny because we were thinking about moving there, but
yeah.
I hear Phoenix is nice. I hear Phoenix is nice.
Other than being hot, that's the only thing I hear about it, is that it's really hot.
Well, aren't you in Texas?
Yeah, but it's not it's different. Like, it's a dry heat in Phoenix. Like, anywhere in Arizona is a dry heat, but here it's more of like humid.
Just this past week we had, you know, it was really hot, and then the next day it was 30 degrees.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know about, you're in Montreal, right? So it's probably still winter.
It's disgusting over here. It's so shit over here right now.
I saw a Roman millennial posted a photo, and there was like snow on the ground. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, when we come back from Phoenix, I'm pretty sure it's going to be nice weather. The weather's going to be it's going to be heating up soon. I mean, it's almost May, so it better be fucking heating up, you know, because I was expecting.
Yeah, I remember you said on I think it was on that live stream, you said that in Montreal it's really nice in the summer. So.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best cities. It's one of the best cities to be in during the summer. There's some cool shit happening every week. Every week there's something cool happening. And it's it's awesome, especially during like they have so we have the Jazz Fest every year. Every year we got the Jazz Fest, and that's literally just like our venues are just packed full of jazz artists. They have like free jazz shows in certain parts of town. They also have the Just for Laughs Festival that shows up, and that's literally when all the comedians show up and make people laugh. There's a street called St. Catherine. It's like the main downtown street, and that street actually gets cordoned off. It gets closed off, and we put like these barriers at one point of the street towards like a very other end, and throughout we have the gay village that goes through that street, and so we end up decorating it with like lanterns and all that stuff. So pretty much for the entirety of the summer, the street is closed, and you can just walk along the street. You just walk on the street. You don't have to walk on the sidewalks. You walk on the street because there's no cars going through it. It is so cool, and it's like really just chill, and you can see like everyone's so happy, you know. There's like gay people walking around holding hands, you know, no one's bothering them, and it's like, and that's why when I see people barking online, I often think about my experiences growing up in the city and how it is now, and I'm like, you guys are all freaking out like for no reason. Like, this is like a normal thing now. It's happening. It's going to be very normal. Like, maybe America's lagging behind in regards to like gay issues and gender issues, but like it's just gonna come to a point where people are just gonna do the things that they're gonna do, and people are just gonna start leaving each other alone and not being assholes. And you know, I don't know. especially when it comes to people who are like super critical of gay people. That's something I really don't understand, because it's like, dude, like I've been around so many gay people. Like, trust me, they're not after your children.
Yeah.
they're not after you. They're not after you at all. I went to a gay club 2 weekends ago, and not once did my ass get grabbed. You know, not once did I feel unsafe, or I mean, obviously I'm a big guy, but like it's like I didn't feel like I was in an awkward place. I felt like I was in a place that was completely chill. You know, I did get smiled at by a lot of dudes, but that's because I'm at a gay club. Like, what the fuck did I expect? Of course I'm gonna get smiled at. And what did I do in return? I smiled back at them. I knew they're gay, but they're smiling at me. I'm gonna smile back at them. I love smiling at people. It doesn't matter who they are, you know?
It's not they're like, showing their dick or, hey, look at this.
It would be completely different if he was squeezing his like nuts out towards me. It'd be a completely different situation. But if it's just at the bar, he's getting a drink, I look over, he smiles at me, I'm like, I'll smile back at him. It's not a big deal. It's like, whatever. You know?
When I see those opinions online, especially from Americans, I wonder if that's just the way they think, but they don't say it out loud. And that kind of makes me sad because, I don't know. I feel like as long as you're not imposing on anyone else, what's the big deal?
Wouldn't you think most of it's because of like religion?
I don't know. It could be. Well,
America is very religious. It's crazy how religious you guys are. You guys are crazy religious. Like there's like churches everywhere.
Yeah, especially in Texas. There's like a Southern Baptist church like every mile.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if people are actually religious or if they just go for like,
the show.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that it's a mix of both, honestly. I would say it's just you guys are really religious. Well, we don't have that many churches here. We do, but we don't. You know what I mean? Like, our churches are really nice looking. Like, we have some really nice churches. Really nice churches.
In Montreal?
Oh, yeah. There's like a few that are really, really nice looking churches. We got St. Joseph's Oratory. Okay. We have the Notre Dame Basilica, which is like near the old port. And then we have another one. I forget what it's called, but it's on like a street called René Lévesque. It's a big church as well. Oh my God, there's actually a whole bunch, to be honest with you. There's another church in Verdun. There's a lot of really nice old school architecture. Like, they look like legit churches from Europe. Fucking cool, man. I love it. Churches.
Did you have something?
I was going to ask, is it mostly like Catholic churches, or what's like
They're mostly Catholic, right? So they're not like Anglican churches. I feel like Anglican churches have that, like, they pretty much look very modern, right? They look like
that's
they
true.
just like
they look like giant buildings.
They have giant buildings, yeah, but they do have like that conic structure at some point, but it's not really as much as a Catholic church. A Catholic church is like legit, like almost it's like spires. Have you ever seen what St. Joseph's Oratory looks like?
No, I haven't.
So
okay, let me share my screen with you. I'm gonna share my screen with you right now.
Okay.
I'm sharing my screen with you. I'm gonna show you what St. Joseph's Oratory looks like.
Then after that, I have something to say about Montreal.
So this is St. Joseph's Oratory. Oh, that's such a small shit picture. What is that shit? Garbage. Full size, large. Here we go. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. That's a church, like right there on the hill.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a bunch of extra stairs over there. That church is like, this picture is really small, but it's a small. But it's sick. Yeah. In the inside, this is the inside of the church. It's fucking cool. Yeah, it's massive. Like, they have like a big they have like a room full of candles that people donate money. They put some money in first, and then they light a candle for like a prayer and stuff like that. It's really beautiful culture. Honestly, it's like a side view of the church. That's a little bit closer up. Church during winter. It's so funny. But if you like, this is the Notre Dame Church. Notre Dame Basilica. I'm wrong about the Notre Dame. It's not called Notre Dame Basilica Church, unless it is. That's the one in Notre Dame Basilica of Montreal. There we go. That's it. So that's one of the other churches.
That one looks like a castle to me.
Let me see if I can get a better picture for you, though.
That one looked like the.
Oh, that is the church. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the inside of it.
Wow.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. I love our churches. I think they're fucking cool to look at, and I think that I don't ever want them to never exist. I think that they're just like always there. They should always be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your question about Montreal?
Oh, so the thing that the reason why I want to visit Montreal is I've heard that the food is really, really good.
Yeah, we have food from all over the world.
Like that's I don't remember. I think I was watching like Anthony Bourdain or something like that. But
oh, the layover from Montreal.
Yeah, he did. He did an episode about Montreal, and they were talking about like French food and how like good the food is there. So that made me, when I watched that episode, I was like, wow, I need to visit there. Like
Yeah,
sometime.
we definitely have some of the best food in the world here. 100%. I would totally say that. And I haven't been everywhere around the world, but I can tell you that just based on like how cultures come here and how the cultures that come in and integrate in Montreal, they tend to bring the best of what they have in terms of food and really want to put it out there. So we have amazing Lebanese food. We have amazing Chinese food. We have amazing Korean food. We have Little Italy has amazing Italian food. Like you're gonna find some sick Italian. Like I can show you some hole in the walls that are like really, really sick. Yeah. Then and then there's poutine, like which is just like one of the best things. What sucks though is that like I tell people about tell my friends about how cool Montreal is, but they've all like recently, like I had my one friend Kiersey, she came in for my birthday. I didn't get to show her much because one, I'm really poor and I can't like really bring them to all the cool places that I love to bring people to. And then two, it's also been really shit weather. Montreal shuts down during the winter. During the winter, it's a brutal city. Like I would never recommend, unless you really like skiing, unless you want to do some winter activities, do not come to Montreal during the winter. Right? You only want to go to like maybe Mont Tremblant, which is like north of Montreal. That's the thing that you probably want to do during the winter. But beyond that, do not come here during the winter. Only come here during the summer and the fall. The fall ends up also being really cool because we have fall festivals, and there's also amazing food that ends up seasonal food that ends up coming up north of the island. We end up having like these like awesome we have these things called cabana sucre or like like sugar shacks. That's what we call them. So like, but they're not like just sugar shacks. They're like we have them during the spring or like March or something like that, when the maple syrup starts coming down or whatever it is. I don't know how to fucking say it, but like when pretty much like the period in which like maple syrup is like being like collected, we have these places that just like make pancake breakfasts just like, yeah. So that's one thing. And then during the fall, it's like apple season. Am I tripping?
Do you have like the apple?
No, when the fuck is apple season? When the fuck is apple season? Okay, regardless, I'm pretty sure it is around the fall. I'm pretty sure it has. I think it is. I'm tripping.
Actually, when I lived in Pennsylvania, we had an apple festival, and it was always in the fall. Okay,
so there we go. So that's it. So when that comes around, like they end up having like the Sugar Shacks end up having like a specific meal around that. In 2013, I went to this Sugar Shack. This was like, I can't believe how long ago it's been. This the last time I went. It was like really cool. We went there, and you go to you have to make reservation like months in advance to go to this thing. And so you went there. We were waiting for our table. As we were waiting for the table, went to the bar, got a nice big pint of like locally brewed beer. Amazing. So I had that. Then we sat down, and they give you a crazy, like, I don't know how many courses are in this meal, but they give you a lot of meal. But at one point, they came by with a $600 cheese wheel. All right. This is it was like a legit cheese wheel, and they had risotto, and they're putting the risotto in, and they made a hole in this cheese wheel, and they just put the risotto in, and they started like the hot risotto, and they started stirring it around in this cheese wheel. Not only did they do that, but they put gold flakes into it. They put gold flakes, actual gold flakes into the risotto, and they started like stirring it around. And yeah, we had that. I remember when I ate that, I was like, this is the most first world experience I will ever have in my life. Like I'm literally eating gold right now. This is crazy. This is so stupid. There's kids in the world who can't even like get a plate of rice, you know. And here I am having risotto, which is pretty much fancy rice, fancy cheese rice, with gold flakes in it, with flakes of gold in it. It was insane. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is cool. And yeah, it was just an awesome experience. Really, really cool. Yeah.
The other you wouldn't be able to have that because you can't have cheese.
I know, but I would make an exception.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you have to. You kind of Montreal, you have to have cheese, even though you may be lactose intolerant. Like I'm a little bit lactose intolerant, and I will always make time for cheese. Always.
If I'm on vacation in Montreal, I feel like I have to.
We're gonna have to find that.
You 100%.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to go for like years, but I just haven't done it. So.
When we get off the stream, we're looking at
look up flights
how much
for
the flights are. Yeah.
If we come to Montreal, you'll have to show us the good restaurants.
I'll show you whatever you want. You guys will even be able to, like, if we still have a room that's available in my house, you guys can just stay at my house.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think I want everyone to see this city. I really wanted, I really want my friends to come during the summer. Like if they can come during the summer, like it's fucking the best thing ever. These summers are so good. You'll never see a happier city, by the way. Like you'll never see a city that's so much happier than Montreal during the summer. But you'll also never see one that's more miserable during the winter. Like we are demons during the winter. Like it's the worst. The worst.
The winter though, isn't that almost half a year there? Because when I lived in Pennsylvania, the winter was almost 6 months.
Okay, so up till about December last year, the weather was pretty chill. I was able to go outside without a jacket. I was okay.
That's pretty good.
I went outside with a leather jacket. I didn't go like without a jacket entirely. But when I came back after the Rubin report, when I came back, it was a nightmare, and it continued to remain a nightmare up until about March, and then once March came around, it started getting a little bit better.
Is it okay now?
It's okay now. Like if I were to go out right now, I don't know what the temperature is, but right now the temperature is it's 5 degrees.
5 degrees.
It is summer for us now. Like in Texas.
I'm sure that Texas it's always warm, right?
It's crazy because we do have a winter, but it never snows. So it will get cold here, but it won't snow. But if it does snow, like even just like a little tiny bit, then people will freak out. They will not be able to drive. Suddenly they have to stay in their house because there's 1 centimeter of snow.
When it snows here in Texas, it's like Godzilla showed up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, I had a friend who went to Austin for like some kind of training when he was at Apple, and when he was there, it snowed 1 centimeter. Oh no, it hadn't snowed. It hadn't even snowed. It was -1 or something like that. It got to like the weather went below freezing.
Yeah.
And people freaked out. Like they freaked out. They shut down everything. And he was laughing. He thought that was hilarious because it can be like -30 for us. -30. Like this is like if you go outside without.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's ever been actually -30, but it's like -20 plus the wind chill, which ends up like pushing it to like even so it's like the actual temperature is like something lower than -30, but it feels like it's like -30. I remember one point it was like at one point it felt like -40 in Montreal. It was insane. So it's like. You go outside unprepared, you're done. You need to like you can't like for me winter. Well, for me winter is this. This is what winter is. Winter is how fast can I get out of my car, and into wherever I need to go, and then how fast can I leave from wherever I'm going to like, get into my car and then go. Like I don't spend time outside. There's no way. I really would like to avoid winters in Montreal entirely. Like if I can just leave the city for a little bit, just throughout winter. And let it suffer and do its thing, I'd be okay with it.
So you'd like to be a snowbird then?
100%.
Like
100%.
South, and then you go back up for summer.
100%. 100%.
That would be nice. Because like summers here are terrible. You can't go outside for like more than 5 minutes without getting burned.
Yeah.
Or without feeling like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Because it's so humid. It's bad.
Humid. Feel like the sun's like right next to your face.
Yeah.
Ah.
So yeah, I feel like it's either do you want like extreme winters or do you want extreme summers? There's no in between.
Mm. And then when you get that 1 week of nice winter,
Yeah, there's like
nice
1
fall.
week of nice weather, then that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like an endangered species.
That's the one thing I don't like about Texas. It's too humid. People think that there's cactuses here, but the cactuses are really small, and it's not dry heat. It's humid heat. Unless you're like out in the middle of the desert in West Texas, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the stereotype about how Canada is always cold and everybody's freezing all the time. I'm sure that's not.
It's not true at all. It's not true at all. No, it does not. It's honestly like our weather is good. Like I would say 6 months out of the year. Definitely 6 months out of the year for sure. More than that.
Would you say that's the biggest misconception about Canada, or is there any other misconceptions?
Another big misconception is that like we are just like we're just like a country that like lets anything slide. Oh yeah, you just come here. Yeah, don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. It's like no, it's because like have you ever have like Tim Pool came to visit me, okay?
Right.
And I was like, and we just chilled for a bit. And he told me in order to get across the border, he got grilled. Like they grilled him. Like people like unless you're Canadian, like our border will grill you. They'll be like, no, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? What's going on? Like, it's like the amount of questions that they ask. Like the American customs are so much more relaxed than Canadian customs. So much more. Yeah, whenever I cross the border, it's an easy time for me. I walk, I'm like, hey, what's up? They're like, what are you doing here? What are you going? I'm like, this is what I'm doing, and they're like, okay, cool, have a nice trip. That's it. Whereas with Canada, they'll ask you a bunch more questions for sure.
So when you hear about our border patrol or our border problems or border issues that we have here in America, do you like just laugh and be like, you don't even know what it's like here?
Well, I think that Americans are a little too soft, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So, I totally understand that for sure. Because, wouldn't you say so? The borders, like, because he was saying that the borders in Canada, because he was saying at Tim Pool when you come in to meet him, they were like grilling him, like, hey, what are you doing here? They're like being like really strict, like really wanting to pinpoint why he was visiting.
I think it depends on what country you're visiting from. So, or in the US.
From the I never assumed that. I always assumed that like if you were coming from the US, the Canadian border would not give you as much of a hard time, but apparently you do. The thing is that like people think that we're too relaxed, but we're not. We also have like our shit down. We don't really let things. We don't like Montreal hasn't had a terrorist attack, which I think is huge.
That is really huge.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge. I mean, I'm saying that I'm knocking on wood so that doesn't actually happen ever. But like I'm just saying like we haven't had that, and why haven't we had that? There's we are just as open. We're actually we're pretty open to the world. Like people can come here and do all sorts of stuff if they wanted to, but they can't, and they probably can't because our government takes our security very seriously. I know that people like to kind of like hate on Trudeau in terms of like what he's doing with like reintegrating ex-ISIS members, which I'm pretty critical of as well. But I think that for the most part, I feel very secure in this country, and I know that I know many other people that also feel very secure in this country. So there's a lot of misconceptions about Canadians that are like just pure like lunacy. If you're gonna listen, if you want to listen to criticisms of Canadians, listen to Roman Millennial, because she's not gonna be shitty about it. I don't think she's gonna be shitty about it. I trust her. She's gonna be real about it. Don't listen to someone like Faith Goldie. Faith Goldie is like on another planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like her anymore.
Yeah, she wanted to. I think at one point she was talking about how like, there are these Haitians that are living in they're legally in Montreal, and like they were being housed in the Olympic Stadium for a bit, but we're taking care of that. It's not really hasn't affected the city in a very negative manner. The city is just chilling as usual. We're doing our thing.
It seems like you have, or like your government has things under control more than. I mean, I think a lot of the misconception comes from people just like think what Trudeau says is what happens. You know, like that he says like we welcome everybody, and so then we, in America, we assume like, oh, that means like they're open border or something. You know. So that's probably where the misconception.
Well, you could probably say the same thing here about Trump. You know, he says a lot of, you know, shitty or whatever ridiculous stuff comes out of his mouth, but then, you know.
Yeah, that's true. He says ridiculous things that aren't really going on.
But they're kind of like I guess opposite spectrums, I guess, because you know,
they are. No, because look, dude, like Trump. Sometimes Trump says something that like makes perfect sense to me, and then I'll see a bunch of replies talking about how stupid whatever he just said is. You know, like there's always going to be critics. There's always going to be critics. There's always going to be people who are going to be like, oh, this person is so dumb.
Of course.
I don't know. Like some of the stuff, though, that like with the recent net or foreign policy stuff, I don't agree with, but some people think that's a good idea. I don't know. Well,
I mean, like with that type, you know, with that.
I don't see why America has to police the world, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I think they kind of have to because they're a superpower and they need to maintain their interests on a global scale. That's what I think. That's why I totally agree with the whole like, you know, clean your house up before you go and try to clean somebody else's house up. Yeah. But I think that their intervention in other parts of the world has a lot to do with cleaning their house up because they have to be there. Because I mean, if Americans just suddenly pulled back all their military from wherever they were in the world, what military presence would be there? There's like we haven't like we have been in perpetual war for ages. Like it's like people like to think of war as this dramatized thing where our sons are sent off to battle and they die and stuff like that. But it's not. It's like these wars are like they're fought on so many levels. They're fought on an economic level. Now it's like a social media level. You know. It's like it's so weird. It's so interesting. Like seeing Trump tweet about North Korea, you know, it got North Korea to respond. Like it's very interesting. Like how that works out. It's just like we're in perpetual war, and that's just the way it is.
What North Korea and South Korea, they're
thinking about.
They're actually
coming to terms with that. War.
Actually ending the war, like not just in a truce that they're in right now, but actually, because technically they're still.
I saw news on that today. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're thinking about ending their war between South and North Korea.
Yeah, and the U.S. has to be a part of that because they're also part of that truce too. So it's not just.
We came in and did.
So they have to, be a part of it too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I don't know. Since we are part of so many of these things, it's kind of like now, what can we do? Like we can't.
You can't pull back. You can't pull back, and that's the thing. Like if you pull back, then a country like.
We should, but we can't.
Well, yeah, you can. If you do, countries like China and Russia, they're gonna start pushing in. And then what's gonna happen if the Russians have like more control of the Middle East than the Middle East or the U.S., who's going to be getting the resources that are being found in the Middle East, and who's going to be getting more of it? Obviously, not the Americans. And it's like you kind of need to do that. Now, I don't know every single thing about that's happening in the Middle East. I do know that Saudi Arabia is going to really be reining it in quite a bit because they've just been pretty much at what they're focusing more on green energy than we've outsourced. They're pretty much just giving away all their fossil fuels, well, not giving it away, but they're selling it off. But they're focusing on sustainable energy, which makes perfect sense for a place like Saudi Arabia, which is just deserts, deserts everywhere, like sunshine everywhere. Like it's like, why not? Why can't they should be building like the solar farms for the world? Like I don't understand why not. We're getting completely. These are areas that I'm interested in, but I don't know enough about to really fully talk about. But we're getting that's what we're getting to. But it's like fun to think about it because the way I look at it is that everything is happening according to plan. All right, people are all playing their roles, and humanity is slowly coming together, and it's just coming together because it needs to come together. Our tribes have been growing and growing and growing until and now we're in an age where we're all connected to each other via mass communication. And so now we realize that we're all there, and we realize that we're also very similar in a lot of ways. And this sense of commonality between all of us is going to bring us together. That's what I truly believe. And that's why I at first was very aggressive with people who were so against that. So be it an Antifa dude or a white nationalist, didn't matter. Like if you were someone that was against other human beings, it tripped me out. I was like, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. But now it's a matter of just pulling back and just letting the world do its thing, and then just being the example that I want to be.
I think it's kind of like what you said in one of your interviews. A lot of it has to do with what can you do within your own circle now, locally, because that's what actually makes a difference.
Yeah. And I've been failing on that front. I'm not the best. I know what to do. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. That's a complete lie. I'm actually going to speak in a high school in May. I'm going to go talk in a high school. Yeah. Yeah. I should probably announce that. Yeah, I should probably announce that. I'll announce that actually. Yeah, because I'm really proud of it. I'll be talking about social media. I'll be talking about social media addiction and cyberbullying. And
I think that's a good issue to talk about, especially with that age group.
Oh, for sure.
You're vulnerable to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because people hear cyberbullying and they're like, oh my God, cyberbullying isn't a thing. Just close your eyes, It's like, yeah. I get it. I get the meme. I understand the meme, but no, for them, it's very real. It's very real. Yeah. When they're so invested in their online persona or their online presence, and someone comes in and tries to take it out, it's like when that's under attack, it can really fuck with them. So that is cyberbullying. I don't care how you look at it. I mean, not everyone's going to know to close their eyes or know that it's not as consequential as it needs to be. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to try to push, give to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's different for when you're a kid, you don't have a fully developed brain, I guess. Those types of things are really important to you as compared to when you're trying to judge things off of you being an adult on the internet. Mm-hmm. That's different.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's why it's important to keep that conversation going about that kind of stuff. Because those things can really affect your self-esteem when you're that age.
Yeah, especially with social media, being so prevalent in our lives now.
I can't imagine being when I was a teenager, I didn't have a phone like that or anything. But
Facebook was just MySpace was the big thing.
I didn't have MySpace. If I had all of what I have now when I was a teenager, it would be insane. I think it would be bad for me, to be honest.
So maybe I guess you're saying you're glad you hit it at the moment you are now, or?
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have that when I was a teenager because I feel like that would be a lot to handle.
No,
sounds like the first one.
It's insane. It's an insane amount to handle for kids. I don't get it. When I'm on Twitter and I see my friends or who are around me, they can't even. They don't even they don't. It just makes no. It's they see the amount of engagement I get. They're like, how? I don't know what to do with that. I was like, well, it's just the way it is. That's okay. It's not a big deal for me. But yeah, that's crazy. You know what sucks about what the one thing that does suck about this interview, right? I'm not saying that anything sucked about it. What I'm saying is that when people hear me right now, they're not going to see my face. So they're going to think that I'm just being if they hear me say something that they don't like, they'll be like, oh, he's being an asshole. But I'm actually just smiling right now. I'm just smiling and I'm talking. I'm just shooting the shit with you guys. Right. But they're going to bring their own. They're going to, someone's going to take this clip parts of this interview. And they'll be like, oh, look at what he just said here. Look at that. I bet he's doing this. So it's
you're probably taking a shit right now as you're.
I wish. That would be a good meme. That'd be a good meme. Would be a great meme is that the entire time the only reason why I was late was because I was setting it up. I was setting up in the bathroom, and I'm going to turn it on the last minute. Be like, yeah.
Somebody said that on. I don't know if it was on Twitter or on YouTube. Somebody said he's probably setting up in the bathroom to do it.
No. Someone said that I'm taking a shit. Is he actually having technical difficulties, or are you just taking a shit?
He's in his underwear. He's in his underwear right now, the thumbnail. He's in his underwear right now, and He's gonna like yell right at the end of it, like. And then,
I'm in the exact same outfit that I'm in the thumbnail.
Yeah, there you go. I still remember that video too. That thumbnail that's from the picture. I still remember that video. That was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Just him, I can't remember exactly what you're saying, but I can just picture him doing it. I think I kicked the chair over or something. I don't know. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it was great.
I don't know. It was like
when I posted the image of that thumbnail, then people went insane. They're like, "Oh my God, how did you come up with that thumbnail?"
Yes, definitely.
Like, well, I just asked him for a picture for a thumbnail, so.
And then someone was like, "You should be the thumbnail person for every YouTube video."
That's what I should ask people. Give me the weirdest picture you have of yourself.
Yeah, there you go. And then they'll send you one, and there you go.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that picture that he sent.
I wasn't expecting that either. So thanks.
Yeah, you were like, send me a funny picture. I was like, I got one for you. I know it because I just saw it. Someone had just sent it to me again. I was like, I remember that photo. That video's gone forever, though. Gone forever. It's on my old account, but I'm so happy that some people still have it. There's been people following me for that long, they still have it.
Oh, I need to see that again. I need to see the video again. It's so funny.
I actually found you through him because he kept watching videos of you, like saying stuff and then laughing for like a minute.
Yeah, like him laughing would make me laugh, and then
Yeah, and then your stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then
that was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, his laughter is contagious. I hear him laugh, and he's one of the few people where if I hear him laugh, this shit's over.
Yeah, then you have to laugh.
It's like him and Rich Evans from Red Letter Media. He makes me laugh. Fucking Jay Bauman from Red Letter Media. Fucking who else?
That's about it.
Jim Norton. He makes me laugh too. Just hearing him laugh makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's few, and I mean I don't know, like it's only a few people who like when you laugh, then everybody else has to laugh.
Yeah,
it's contagious.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna try to inject more happiness in my life so I can laugh a bit more.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we're.
I love that little conversation he had. You think we should end it now?
Yeah, we should end it now. Yeah.
We don't want to take up too much of time because you know that.
Yeah, it's totally good. It's totally good.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to end the video now? Do you want to end it now? Okay, we're gonna. Anyway, yeah. So I'm glad that we were your little therapy session for almost an hour and a half.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
This was really fun.
It was a great time. You guys know, absolutely. Send me a message any single time, and I'll just be happy to talk to you. Just be happy to talk to you guys. I'm down to do this again for sure.
Sweet.
We're having a live stream with Leaf next week.
Oh,
so that'll be.
She got such a cute voice.
I know her voice is like, oh my God.
It's funny because she has a cute voice, but then you see her tweets and she could be fucking crazy.
She's crazy, but I love it.
I know, I like it too.
She definitely needs to chill for a little bit sometimes. When I hear her sometimes, I'm like, all right, what the? Ooh, I'm confused.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, hey, come here for a second. I need to talk to you.
It's like you need to calm down. But I don't know. It's entertaining.
Yeah, it is.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thank you for.
Good sentence.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. This was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So who's the next stream we're having? Is Leaf the next one?
No, we have.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The next live stream we're having is on Saturday with a MAGA person who blocked me.
I believe so. Yeah.
It would be interesting because the first thing I'm going to ask is why did you block me?
Yeah. Yes, that'd be.
Yeah. A MAGA person. Are they going to be using a webcam or?
I don't know.
I'm not really sure.
I'm surprised they even agreed to the interview because.
Because I messaged them. But anyway.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. So if you want to plug any of your stuff, then you go on right ahead.
No plug. No plug. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I was just happy to talk to you guys.
Just type in Bunty King and then you'll find all of this stuff.
Yeah. Thanks.
There you go. Yeah, all of our stuff too is in the description. I mean, why you're watching this, because on our channel, so obviously you're gonna look at our descriptions, right?
Yeah, and all of his stuff is in our description too.
Yeah.
So be sure to check that out. I mean, obviously, it's Bunty. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks again, man. This was really fun.
Thank you, guys. I'll hang up now. Okay, take it easy, guys. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Have a good night.
Peace.
Bye.